How do you feel about a 4-day work week? My employer gives us every other Friday off. We work 80 hours over 9 days, MTH. It's really helpful to have those Fridays to schedule appointments, and I have less desire to burn PTO throughout the year just to take a much needed Friday off. Through the end of October, I had only used 2.5 PTO hours for the year, mostly for doctor's visits. The only real downside is that on the Fridays that we do work, nobody wants to do anything. Life would be that much better. I would have somewhere around 50 extra days a year to do all the yard work and home projects that I don't want to spend all weekend doing. I would probably hate Mondays less. I would gladly work 4 10-hour days to have an extra day off. 2-day weekends are too short. They're gone just as soon as you start to feel comfortable. Provided there's no drop in salary, fucking brilliant. Think it makes sense? All the evidence suggests it works, and the welfare benefits would be enormous. Edit. This took off a little more than I expected. Thanks for the cake day well wishes. Whilst I'm here is a couple of news stories about the research and articles about 4-day weeks. New Zealand trial. Short-term trial by Microsoft. They talked about this in the 70s. Yay, everyone said. My dad did it. He worked for 12 plus HR days and took off Friday. Everyone else was like, if I work the 12 HRs the 4 days plus another 12, I can make even more money. Yay. I work 4 10s a week instead of the usual 8 5s and I fucking love it. 2 extra hours each shift is easily worth the 3-day weekend. Feel like I actually get a break from work each week. My company switched to 4 10-hour days. We are diesel technicians and work 7 to 5:30. Half of us work Monday through Thursday and the other half work Tuesday through Friday. We have did this for over 2 years and we all love it. It is so nice to have a 3-day weekend every week. Another thing about it that is nice is if you doctor's appointment or something I can make it on a Monday and don't have to miss any work. Given that we now have more people in the workforce and supposedly more productivity because of automation, we ought to be dropping down to 32-hour weeks to compensate for the changes in our household structures. Used to do a 12-hour day 3 days a week. It was glorious. I not only think it would be great, I think we should go further and eliminate required work hours for certain jobs altogether. Most office jobs can easily be done from home with a phone and a working internet connection. There's no reason to force people to commute and sit on a cubicle for hours and hours every week just so bosses can make sure they're working. That's 1919 thinking, not 2019 thinking. When you hire me, you should pay me X amount of dollars for Y amount of work. Whether it takes me 12 hours a week or 54 hours a week to get it done, my salary X never changes. And any free time is my own. In terms of climate change, it'd be about 20% less CO2 emissions from commuters, which is nice. Also, how do you feel about asking questions that they know for a fact that virtually all Reddit agrees on but asks anyway for karma and attention? 0 days will be better, but this is also an improvement. As long as it is 4 to 8 hour days with no change in pay, I can get the same amount of work done in 32 hours as I get done in 40. I don't know, I'd rather just not work at all. It wouldn't work for me. I work at an animal hospital, open 7 days a week, and there's not enough of us to go around. And the company would never hire enough people to cover for a 4-day work week. Reddit. How do you feel? Popular Reddit belief. Wait, all of you love it, what a surprise. I think it's less about 4-day work weeks, but more about work-life balance. For people that's already working more than 10 HRS day or no pay overtimes or working during holidays, working 4 days week means very little. I work healthcare, specifically public health. People stay 6-7 days a week. My BF works 4/10s and it's a total game changer. It's adjusted his schedule so he wakes up at earlier hours on his days off, which gives him more day in his day, on top of Reddy having an extra one. I'm self-employed and I try to have all my work done by Fridays, so we usually get 3-day weekends together, which also makes taking short trips easier without missing any work. It also opens up a weekday for him to do certain things that have more limited hours on weekends, like appointments and whatnot. As long as the pay still matches what I make now and I do have to work longer hours, I'd be thrilled. To all the people who think that you'll have to work less, no, you won't. In order for this format to stay on, if implemented, I'm pretty sure your productivity will have to rise and you'll have to cover 5 days of work in 4 days. However, science is on our side. I'd also love this. As studies have shown that people exposed to these conditions take less breaks, browse Facebook less and are generally more efficient. Reddit has already shown us that there will be a few people who will go in on an optional 5th day for some extra cash, and then working 5x 10 hours a week will slowly become the norm. Not as good as I would feel about a 3-day work week. I enjoy my 4-day work week. 10 hours a day is a little tiring, but I have no reason to complain. I do the same amount of work, and I get an extra day off. It's worth it. I did 4/10s for a while. I was so exhausted at the end of the 4th day I basically spent my 5th day recovering. I'm in ITST, a small company now. I don't see them going to 32-hour weeks for us. Working a 5-day work week just makes life seem so much more pointless. By the time I get the other things I need to do, grocery shopping, appointments, etc., done, it's Sunday night. A 4-day work week might give me time to play the piano I bought to combat depression. I work with people with special needs and developmental disabilities. 4-day work weeks wouldn't work in my field. I absolutely support it. There's so much evidence that backs the benefits up, but agree with the comments about lower paid workers just working more at other jobs. This system is good in theory for salaried workers, but not so much for hourlies, unless their wages were adjusted accordingly. I also think it would affect newer members entering the workforce. It's illegal to roll someone's pay back for doing the same job they've always done. In my country at least, some conditions may apply, but what's to stop companies from hiring new entry levels at a percentage less? There would have to be regulation and laws against it. Cost of living doesn't go down just because your hours do. There's many industries that can't function on one less day. Education, for example. If you already do so little work that you could cut out a day and still get all your work done, count yourself lucky and quit complaining. Great. It would give me time to put in more hours at my second job. I'm tired of this world we've built. Fuck. I'd take a 5-day week. Like in 4 days, each 10 hours. maybe. Depends on how long my commute would be. 4 days with each being 8 hours. I think then I'd just shorten my workday to 6,25 hours and keep on working 5 days. I mean, a longer weekend is nice, but I'd love to be able to show up at work at 7:30, have a nice lunch break, and still leave at 14:30. Then you'd actually have a life, even on working days. There are a lot of pitfalls to this. You have to come up with a rotation. You can't expect the world to shut down on Friday. So now you need a weekend crew. Do they only work 3 days? Or are you overstaffed on one day? The clinic gets a lot more busy because all the people they saw in 5 days are now pushed into 4 days. Also, there are a lot of businesses that rely on people working. The food truck guy. If he can't sell food on the 5th day, he now has a pay cut. The daycare lady, does she continue to charge the same even though your kids are only there for 4 days? Your 15 days of vacation goes from 3 weeks to almost 4. Good for you, bad for the people that cover for you. I'm not saying that some of these can't be overcome, but just accepting it because a 3-day weekend is awesome won't work either. I wouldn't mind it. I, personally, would love it. I feel like, overall, you'd get more free time, since on days with work, you have to go to bed early to wake up early, but on weekends you can do whatever. What management never understands is that they are only getting 4 HRS, maybe 6 HRS of actual work. Whether they want us there for 8 or 10 HRS, they are still only getting minimal production. Personally, I'd rather work for 4 HR days, and get paid for 40 hours. I loved working for 10 HRS shifts. It was perfect. Not too long but you get an extra day off. Love love love. I've been dreaming about everyone, besides emergency responders OFC, having Wednesdays consistently off. That would be an absolute dream, and the health benefits of it, mentally as well as physically, would be well worth it, even to employers, even if they don't try to force their employees to make up for that time by working longer on other days. I believe that in many professions, the profits that are lost by giving people another day off midweek would more than pay for themselves in employee satisfaction, loyalty, motivation, and less need for medical leave. I have thoughts on emergency responders and businesses that organize themselves around people having free time too, but yet, let it be just said that there are very few people in the world who truly need to go shopping at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. I commute an hour plus each way, so a 4-day work week would mean 1 less commuting day, which would be awesome. We work 6 days a week. I would be freaking happy to get 2 days weekend. I don't even know how I feel about 4-day work week. It's too far-fetched for me. But I dream. Someday. Maybe someday. I'm a teacher. That extra day at the end of the week would be amazing for prep, grading, meetings, and so on. Want it? Mixed bag, sure, working less is great, but we still have to do the same amount of stuff and we are already always very close to being behind. Of course it would create more job openings, and when they are filled we'll not run behind, except that we are running behind because we cannot find qualified people to do the job anyways. And don't even get me started on unqualified workers, because that marker is entirely dry ever since Amazon built a warehouse close to us. So I'd say nice idea to create more job openings or when moving to a more automated system. Only worth it if you can get it in writing that you work no more than 10 hours. My last job was supposed to be like that, but they always ran for 12 hours each day. Long overdue. No point in being in the office 40 HRS per week. Hello. 4-day work week haver here. It's wonderful and does have the benefits they say it does. My schedule is Monday 6-8-12 p, Tuesday Thursday 6-6 p. While I don't get anything but basic self-care done Tuesday Thursday, I have 3.5 days to unwind, go to appointments, run errands, and do chores. It's magical. I also have a chronic pain condition, so I can take a whole 2 days to rest if I need it, and still have a day off, and the second half of Monday to get stuff done. 10/10. A step in the right direction. 40-50 plus hour work week is inhumanly long. Been wanting this my whole life. Yo, I wish. Fucking please make this happen. Interested and eager to know more.